I've had a fascination with these birds since I was young. I actually rescued two young crows from a nest when I was in my teens back in the 70s. Some dipshit had been shooting up the nest with an air rifle and I managed to rear them on, and they were great, so intelligent. So I thought I'd do a video on crows and ravens together. The folklore and legends are fascinating, so I thought I'd read up and learn a little bit, and this is what I've learned. Now, both crows and ravens are from the Corvids family, and there's shitloads of them, 120 species, including rooks, magpies, jackdaws, jays. There is so much folklore about these birds, especially in the British Isles. Much of it is quite sinister, I suppose. But the more you watch and study these intelligent and playful birds, the more you learn to respect them. And they are classed as one of the world's most intelligent birds. Now, as for ravens, they prefer wild, upland and mountainous regions, but they also inhabit forests and coastal areas. They're more of a solitary nester than crows are, creating bulky nests with twigs and branches, and they line them with whatever they can find. And they often nest on cliff faces or high in large trees. Now, generally when you see ravens, they're in pairs or small family parties, but they do gather in large groups at feeding sites or communal roosting. In the wild, ravens can live for more than 30 years, even longer in captivity. And a group of ravens is called an unkindness. Now, crows, on the other hand, are not picky where they nest. They prefer land that is broken up with tree groves, hedgerows and woodland. But the clever birds will settle just as well in urban areas, including parks, gardens and large cities, where some of the largest, oldest trees around are protected in cities and parks. Now, it's thought crows live for up to 15 years in the wild, but it's been recorded that they can reach an age of 50 in captivity. In ancient mythology and folklore, ravens and crows often represent ancient wisdom, intelligence and transformation, like spectral messengers of untold visions and prophetic whispers. And these dark birds seem to live in the human imagination as custodians of ancient wisdom, and seem to personify shape-shifting gods and goddesses, harbouring the secrets of creation and destruction. Now, is this because these large intelligent birds feed on carrion? They've got disturbing deep vocal sound, and their midnight wings seem to be carrying messages as it straddles the worlds of the living and the dead. Or they seem to be perched like prophets upon forgotten tombs, bearing dark wisdom. Ancient warriors would have seen these birds hovering over the slaughter of the battlefield, waiting to gorge on the bodies of the fallen. Must have been a fearsome sight to the Celtic warriors. It's easy to see why they're viewed as a premonition and could be seen as an omen of death, with the gleaming eyes showing an eerie intelligence. And it's not surprising a group of ravens is called an unkindness. I can also imagine our Paleolithic ancestors would have observed these keen, intelligent birds thousands and thousands of years ago and would have made a big impression on them. Now, I've read in Celtic mythology there was a warrior goddess known as the Morrigan, and she often appears in the form of a crow or raven, or is seen accompanied by a group of them. And the Morrigan is known as the goddess of battle and war, and she is a goddess who determines whether you walk off the field of battle or are carried off on your shield. In some legends, the Morrigan is considered a triune or triple goddess. There's a lot of inconsistencies to that, and according to archaeological findings, she appears to date from around 3000 BC. And the Morrigan is one of the most complex figures in Irish mythology. In more modern literature, there's been some linking of the Morrigan to the character of Morgan Le Fay in the Arthurian legends. In the Mabinogion, a collection of tales from Welsh culture, folklore and myths, the raven is the harbinger of death, and witches and sorcerers were believed to have the ability to transform themselves into ravens and fly away. Also, regarding Welsh mythology, I read about a god called Bran the Blessed, and he's a gardener of Britain whose totem is a raven. And Bran is said to have ordered his own head to be cut off, after which it could still speak words of prophecy. And legend has it that Bran's head was buried beneath the Tower Hill at the Tower of London, where the famous ravens of the tower is sort of an echo of this legend. And I also read that the Welsh for Bran means crow, and Bran is the raven in both Cornish and Irish. And jumping forward to the day, we encounter this bird in Game of Thrones, when the three-eyed raven visits Bran Stark in his dreams. Now, the Vikings, you can tell how important the raven was to them, as it's shown on images used featuring on armour, helmets, shields, banners and carvings on longships. And Odin is often represented by the raven, usually a pair of them. Early artwork depicts him being accompanied by two black birds, who are known by Hugin and Munin, which translates to thought and memory. And their job is to serve as Odin's spies, bringing him news each night from a land of men. Now, moving on to the Native Americans. They saw the raven as a trickster. There are several tales regarding the mischief of ravens. Some tribes knew the raven as a stealer of souls. And very often in Native American folklore, the intelligence of the crow is usually portrayed as the most important feature. And in many tribes, the crow is fused into the entity with the raven, as they share many of the same characteristics. They also notice that ravens have a symbiotic relationship with wolves. The birds follow wolves round and benefit from their kills, and it's thought the wolves may also respond to raven calls, indicating where the prey is. Even the ancient Greeks thought the crow was a symbol of Apollo and his role as god of prophecy. And then you've got Christianity. Ravens hold a special significance, even though they are referred to as unclean, like with Genesis and the story of the flood. Water receded and the raven was the first bird all sent out of the ark to find land. And I read that in Hebrew writings, the raven showed Adam and Eve how to bury the body of Abel, because they'd never done it before. And in Sweden and Denmark, ravens are believed to be the ghosts of murdered or an exorcised spirit. And in general, as their role as a messenger of doom and gloom, it's bad luck to kill a crow. And if you do so by mistake, you're supposed to bury it wearing black. So do these feathered messengers manifest omens, transformation, and the link between mortal and the celestial? Are ravens spiritual guides that embody ancient wisdom with messengers from the spirit realm? Or are they just an enigmatic, intelligent bird? Let me know what you think in the comments.